lost that game. So that kind of just gives you an idea about the competition in this league. I mean, there's not a night that you can take off. You can't go into the Floridas and play FAU and FIU and think that's going to be two gimmies, no matter what the record is. And then you go into the Carolinas and Virginia, and you play Old Dominion and Charlotte. I mean, that's a tough road swing. And then Western and Marshall's a tough road swing. And then Southern Miss and La Tech, that's a tough road swing. You know, so, and you go to Texas, I mean, San Antonio and UTEP, and then you've got Rice and North Texas. I mean, it's, you know, when you get into your conference, you need to be healthy, and you need to have the right focus if you're going to succeed in this conference.
And you see a team like Charlotte last year, they sort of rebounded after a couple tough seasons.
Charlotte goes down and it's double overtime with UTEP, which run off of the conference last year, so that tells you a little bit about them. You know, they got a very good team, very well coached. I think one of the things that kind of separates our women's conference from a lot of conferences is the coaches. From the top to the bottom, they do a good job.
What is there a player that's really stood out to you in this preseason who's really either improved since last year or who's come on new?
For our team?
Yes.
I would say that I've seen some of our kids really grow up. We've had more than one. I think a lot of people's going to be fooled by Becca Reuter. She probably could start for any other team in the conference. I don't know that she'll start for us, but we've even, as far as a utility player, we're thinking about moving her out to Bria's position. So now you got a 6'3" kid that can go out, shoot the three,
really
help you on the boards. I think Abby Sissom has just absolutely shown the probably biggest leap in leadership and attitude than anybody we've got. Ty Petty, just unbelievable Ty's work ethic, because she's got a chance to maybe play in the league, and she needs a good year this year at point guard. I think Johnson is going through, she's went into the weight room, and I don't think people's going to even recognize Alex Johnson, because last year you were looking at a young lady that was right out of high school, and this year you're looking at a unbelievable athlete. I mean, she just looks like a great athlete now. And then Gabby Lyons is just the things that she's doing on the practice floor is just the extra effort that she's giving, and going to the boards and the tips and defending on the perimeter, things that we didn't ask them to do last year that we're already asking them to do in practice, that they're able to do, and it's really been it's been a positive. Now, our younger players are not coming along as quick as I would like, but I've got to understand, where I look at my older, experienced players, and then I look at my 4 freshmen and my 3 sophomores, they can't be where these guys are. These guys have been starting since they were freshmen. Reuter and Gabby Lyons started against Arizona State at Arizona State 2 years ago. So, you know, all that's paying off right now. So it's going to be exciting. The work ethic and the attitude is what I've been more pleased with everything. They just seem to come up into the gym or to the Murphy Center, and they're ready to practice.
I know Gabby improved last year late. You know, she really came on, especially during then.
She was my MVP. Yeah. I mean, everybody thought maybe it was Bria or maybe it was Ty, Alex Johnson, but really my MVP last year was Gabby, and I let the team know that, because Gabby does all the stuff that a lot of people don't like to do. She takes charges, she rebounds, she dives after loose balls. I can remember a couple of games that we were able to win because she ran down a long rebound and kicked it back to Ty or Bria, wanted to knock down a 3, which continued our momentum in that game. So she was my MVP.
This team last year you described as one of the closest knit teams you've ever coached. Had to overcome a little bit of that, of a hump early on, and then just went on a run and really was close. How do they keep that closeness this year?
Well, I sense that same feeling with this bunch. I think that comes from your leadership, and you're looking at Ty, and you're looking at Sism, you're looking at Becca, you're looking at Gabby, and then Alex is just fitting in. I mean, when you got a team that's not really jealous or not envious, they're not selfish, and they don't really care who's getting the points and who's getting the print, all of that. That's when you have that, and that's what we've got right now. They get along as well off the court as they do on the court. My thing right now is how well is my freshmen and sophomores going to blend in with this older group, and that's what I'm hoping for. They, you as a coach, you hope that they gravitate to that part of the program instead of gravitating to something that may be negative, like, I'm not getting enough playing time, or maybe I'm not getting a fair shake, or maybe, coach is really asking me to do some things I really don't know that I can do. And see, all of these young ladies have gone through that. And so hopefully they'll lean on them and gravitate to that and say, hey, we went through the same thing. Because it's tough being a freshman in any program that cares, that's committed to winning championships. It's tough to be a freshman and come in, have to throw away all your bad habits and learn a new system and buy into a new system and buy into a new way of doing things.
Would you say Alex Johnson, she's just a sophomore, but she acts like a veteran player out there?
She's unbelievable. She just, if you had to go out, I mean, she's a fantastic academician. I mean, she is taken. She knows where she wants to go with her life. She knows where she's got to go in her classroom. When she comes to the basketball court, she knows what it takes to be successful. She knew that she had to get into the strength and conditioning room this past spring and summer because she was taking a beating in there through the year, and just so coachable. Very, very articulate, comes from a great family,
no complaints from
her.
No
complaints, never, we asked her this week, we said, hey, we got to take our game to another level. And you're talking to a young lady that was freshman player of the year that just made the preseason team. And a coach goes to her and says, hey, we got to move it up to another level. And the response that I got was, yes, sir. And you could see her just get another year in practice. And, that's what you want your young kids to gravitate to.
Is there a team in Conference USA that many people aren't talking about that could surprise anyone?
I think Charlotte's got a good core group. I think everybody's probably talking about Western and us and Old Dominion, but, UTEP's had a lot of success. It's hard to overcome when you got programs that's got tradition, and just about if you look at all the programs in the conference, you've got maybe 8 or 9 programs that have got tradition. So you never know how that's going to turn a team. And then you look at what Matt's been able to do last year with Marshall. They really had a pretty good year. FAU is probably the toughest team in the conference for us to defend. The offense and the movement that they got, and they're great shooters. So, I've said this all along, and I've been saying this now for 40 years, not only on the high school level, but the collegiate level. It's not always the best team that wins the championship. It's the team that's playing the best at the end of the year. I'm not sure that we were the best team last year, but at the end of the year, we were playing better than everybody out there. And I think we showed that when we got into the tournament.
Is there anything about getting off to a faster start that you've emphasized to your team?
I don't think we're going to get off to a fast start. I think we've got the toughest non-conference schedule in the country. I think when the rankings come out, it'll show that. I mean, we go to Virginia to open up. They're going to be in the top 5 or 6 in their conference. We come back home and play Louisville. They're the number 2 team in the country, already been ranked number 2 team in the country. We've got Arizona State coming into Murfreesboro. They've been ranked in the top 15 in the country. We got Tulane, which is going to be in mid-level of their conference. They're in the same conference with Connecticut and them, and South Florida and all that. So we got them coming to Murfreesboro. We got Georgia Tech, which has got a new string of athletes that's coming through that's bringing their team to Murfreesboro. Then we got to go to Kentucky, which ended up in the top 3 in the SEC last year. I don't know that anybody in the conference is going to play that type of a schedule. Then we've got Austin Peay and Tennessee Tech. Tennessee Tech going there, Austin Peay coming to our place, but to them will be their biggest game of the year. So we can't go into either one of those programs and say, hey, you know, we can go into cruise control here. We got to go into those facilities, and we got to fight because both of those schools were in the old OVC with us.
They kind of challenged you guys last year when you guys went to
both teams. Austin Peay and Tennessee Tech have been tough outs for us ever since I've been at Middle Tennessee. So, you know, so we hadn't got. But you got to look at the bright side of that too. We go in and we win most of those games. We take care of business in the conference. We're going to get in that large bid, and that's why we do it.
And you intentionally schedule these opponents for non-conference play.
Absolutely.
Why is that? Again?
Well, you know, everybody talks about we want to build the fan base. You want to build the fan base. We want to grow the game. There's no better way to grow the game than bring the best women's basketball programs into Murfreesboro. You know, I hadn't taken a bye game since I've been at Middle Tennessee. I could go to Connecticut and they could pay me $75,000 and be their sacrificial lamb. I don't have a problem going to Connecticut if they'll come back to Murfreesboro. I could go to Ohio State. I could do the same thing, or Stanford. I have no problem going there. And I don't want them to pay me anything. I just want them to come back and reward our community, reward our program, reward our fan base with some of the best programs in the country. Because when they look on TV on Sunday afternoons and Monday nights and Saturday, you know, there'll be a time when Middle Tennessee will be playing in some of those game slots, and that's what we're looking for there.
Is there potential for UConn to come down to Murfreesboro?
Well, I would say now would be a good time because they signed a young lady out of Blackman to bring her back home. We're always in negotiation. I think right now we're negotiating with South Carolina, maybe to try to get them in next year. You know, we just signed that 4-year contract with Louisville. So the next 4 years we'll be with Louisville, and we've been playing Kentucky year in and year out. I'd like to get Tennessee back on the schedule, but that's Tennessee's fault. That's not our fault. We won't play them, but now we're not going to play under their conditions. I mean, our RPI is not far off from theirs. So, you know, when Coach Summit was there, it was a little bit different situation.
Right.
You know, and when Pat was there, Pat played me every year. Now Holly's taken over, and it's a little bit different leadership there. I love Holly; she's a good friend of mine. But you know, we're not going to go up there 3 or 4 times and play them so they can come back to Murfreesboro and play us one time.
Yeah,
that's not the way it works anymore. We've got a good program. We're in one of the top 15, 20 programs in the country, and we need to be treated that way. And that's kind of the way I feel about it.
Coach, going back earlier, you mentioned about depth. 6'3" women's player that can move out to the wing. That's rare in this game. And you normally only see it during the Final Four, during the tournament, when everybody has an opportunity to be in the tournament. What's it feel like every day to go to practice and to say, okay, if I can get one more just like that, at any size that would take chance and that can guard?
Well, this team kind of offers me some scenarios I haven't had before because there's a time that I can play 3 posts. My rotation last year was Lyons, Reuter, and Johnson, and Tiana Porter. I was rotating the 4 of them in and out. Well, you look at our lineup this year, we may very well be starting 3 posts. So I've had to change, I've had to tinker with my system a little bit because I could see us starting against Virginia with the 3-post rotation. Now, I don't know how long we'll stay with it. Maybe what I'm thinking is we can buy a little time for my freshmen. I've got 4 good incoming freshmen. I've got 3 good sophomores, and maybe we can buy a little time to catch some of those young ladies up with where these are. So, it's kind of two trains of thought there, but it's pretty exciting to go in and know that you've got Johnson, which was freshman of the year at the post position. You got Gabby Lyons, which is just going to be a junior at the post position. You got Becca Reuter, which is just going to be a junior at the post position. And now I think one of the young lady that I didn't mention that's having the best preseason is Jordan Majors. She's at the post position. So
Really?
We didn't even use her last year, and so this year, right now, she's come in and taken over where Tiana Porter was at and just doing a fantastic job. So I have no problem throwing a basketball to Jordan Majors.
She's got great wingspan, right?
Well, she was MVP of the state tournament, AA, for Martin Luther King. So very, very intelligent young lady, very articulate also. I think she wants to be, I'm not for sure, but I think she wants to be a dentist. Comes from a great family also, and I've really been happy with what I've seen out of her. Matter of fact, I'm probably ecstatic over what I'm seeing out of her right now, because that helps our post rotation. But we've got some young ladies, some young players too, that could, by the end of the year, I think if we didn't have what we got at the post, I think Charity Savage could be a horse. She's a young lady out of Memphis, but she's going to kind of have to buy her time right now with what's going on there.
Yeah, we know about Abby Sissom and her three-point shooting ability, but you lose Bria Edwards. Who's a player or players that could help supplement that?
Well, we're hoping Sissom can. She's just been unbelievable. We have a drill that we run every day. We call it 11-man, and that's where you race the clock. You got 5 minutes on the clock, and what you try to do, there's been years, and I don't want to explain the whole thing, there's been years that we go through and we get 41, 43 points. A three-pointer counts 2 and a layup counts 1. And that clock's continuously running. Well, one time already this year we've hit 87.
Oh, wow.
So, and last year we were consistently in the 60s. So, and we chart what everybody does. And in one of those situations, Abby Sissom hit like 16 or 17 threes. And that's running the floor. I mean, it's nearly unbelievable. And Bria last year had a time or two that she hit maybe 14 or 13, something like that. So that kind of gives you an idea. Now what we got to do, that's really not good, because she's taking most of the shots, because you want your younger players to step up and contribute. And yesterday was the first day that I felt comfortable with our younger players stepping up, because we had 2 or 3 of our freshmen that hit 5 or 6 or 7 threes, each of them, which helped the older ones out.
Lastly, from me at least, since you've come into this conference, what's been the biggest change of the adjustment in all what you saw? Is because there's been some coaching changes in all
it's been so competitive. This conference, when I came in, and of course we kind of dominated the Sun Belt Conference.
Right.
And I'm not saying that to be braggadocious.
Right.
I'm just saying it's a fact.
Right.
I mean, if you look back at how many conference championships, how many tournament championships we won, what our record was in the Sun Belt, it's pretty much a fact. And we came into this conference, and I'm telling you, from day one, it was just so tough going on the road in Conference USA. The competition was so much better. The players were stronger, more athletic. I didn't expect to see that big a change. It was as much of a change as me coming from high school going into the Sun Belt Conference as it was coming out of the Sun Belt Conference going into Conference USA.
Really? That much? Kind of shocked. I wasn't expecting to get that answer, because when you all came in, at least 2 of us in the Houston area, we was like, well, here comes a run. I'm being honest, Coach. I'm being honest.
We, it's just tough. I mean, a team that you talked about, North Texas might be one of those teams. Rice did a great job last year at the end of the year. They came on, they gave us a lot of trouble there. So, you know, there's not
Becoming
any.
a deeper conference.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Well, I got him. I'm done.
All right, thank you, Coach, for your time.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
You're welcome.